Well, good evening, students. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So, are you ready for today's class? Yes, I think so. So, the last class already we have discussed about weathering. We have discussed about the different terms called disintegration, transportation, denudation, erosion, and all. So, today we shall be studying in detail. So the last class already we have read what weathering is, what denudation is, what disintegration is, what transmission is, and what is erosion. Okay, then we have discussed how all this process take place. Then we have discussed about the effect of weathering. Today we will be broadly studying about the three different way of weathering: the chemical weathering, the physical weathering, and the biological weathering. And we shall be studying about the different components that included in the physical weathering, the different components that include in the chemical weathering, and so the different components that included in the biological weathering. So let's study about it, because the entire chapter is based on these things. So let's start the chapter. First, let's start with the physical, that is what known as mechanical weathering. So weathering has been classified into three different sections: mechanical, chemical, and biological weathering. Let's discuss about one by one. Our first point of discussion is block disintegration. Our first point is block disintegration. So what is block disintegration? Our first, here we are going to discuss about the mechanical weathering. So in mechanical weathering we shall be discussing about block disintegration, exfoliation, next comes granular disintegration, so let's discuss about one by one. Block disintegration. Block disintegration. Usually, okay. What is block disintegration? Where we find a big piece of rock. So what happens if some craters happens to be appeared on the surface? If there are some cracks on the surface, so what happens? The water that percolates down. And what happens? As the water percolates down, slowly what happens? It starts making what? Space between the particular block with the rest of the rock portion. Clear? And slowly what happens? Just because the cracks happens to be appear bigger and bigger, later on what happens? The corner part that falls down. That is what known as block disintegration. Clear? So how this takes place? Due to the fluctuation of heat or solar radiation. Clear? Due due to the fluctuation of heat, or you can say, or temperature. What happen if the water that get percolate down, specifically the temperature? What happen due to extreme heat, and when the temperature goes down, automatically what happen? It starts making crack in the rock surface. Clear? Suppose there is a piece of rock, and what happen if the water get percolate inside the rock? What happen when the temperature goes below the freezing point? So what happen? The water that is present inside the rock, what that happens, that starts building crack inside the rock. What happen? The water that is inside this rock, that freezes down, and when it freezes down, automatically what happens? It start building cracks. And later on, what happen? Again, when the temperature hikes, okay, fluctuation means up and down. Again, when the temperature increases, again the ice that form inside the rock, that becomes liquid. Again, when it becomes liquid, it becomes more easier for the liquid to get inner. Yes or no? ये और easy हो जाता है कि अंदर जाएगा. Again, when it goes in and when it freezes, again it starts creating cracks inside the rock. And slowly what happened? Due to this, what happened? Some fragments or some parts that starts falling from the main piece of rock. And this process is known as the block disintegration. This process is known as block disintegration. Clear? Understood the first point, students? Understood? Okay. See, usually just because of cracks, what happen when the rainwater that get in? Okay, now what happen due to fluctuation of temperature leads to form ice crystal or frost as well as water. Due to fluctuation of temperature, what happen? I'll give you example here. Suppose a crack is there. Now what is stored here? Now what happens when the temperature goes below 0 degree? So what happens? The water that is present over here, what happens? That frosts, okay, or that what happens? That becomes to the ice, and what happens? That slowly starts cracking. Starts cracking the side wall of the rocks. Clear? And later on, what happens when the temperature hikes? When the temperature increases, what happens? This ice becomes liquid, and that easily that get inside this cracks. Again, when the temperature drops down, this crack starts widening. These cracks starts widening, and later that is filled with the liquid, and so this process later what happens? Breaks down the entire piece of rock from this particular block, from this piece of rock. That is what known as block disintegration. Understood, Rasmi Anand? Understood? Okay. Now next point is come exfoliation. Understood, everyone? So what is exfoliation? Exfoliation is like peeling up the fruits. Why I stated it is like peeling up fruits? What is peeling up fruits? It means when you are removing what? The peel of the fruits. So that is what known as peeling of fruits. So exactly in exfoliation, what happened? Layer after layer that starts breaking down. Okay, understood. Here what happened? Layer after layer it starts breaking down. It is not like only one part or the one portion of the rock that starts breaking. Rather, what happened here? Layer, one layer after the other, then the following the next and all. What happened? The layer that starts falling out from this piece of rock, and this is what known as exfoliation. So how do this exfoliation takes place? So here a very well reason is given. Due to the conductor of heat, as rock is the bad conductor of heat. Rock is the bad conductor of heat. So, you know what is conductor? In science you all may have studied conductor. Suppose iron is a good conductor of heat. What is good conductor of heat? Good conductor of heat, it means suppose one part. How many of you have ever tried as like while your mother cooking in the kitchen, and if he has put something to what mix or to move whatever curry is there in the bowl, उसके लिए जो चट्टू वगैरह जो यूज करते हैं, समटाइम वो क्या चट्टू वहीं पर ही रहता है और जब आप जाके वो चट्टू पकड़ते हो तो गर्म रहता है. What? That is conductor. What happened? एक जगह गर्म हो रहा है, but the heat that transport to the other part also. Clear? That is what called good conductor. But what is bad conductor? Bad conductor, it means it does not pass the heat to the rest of the person. It does not pass the heat to the rest of the person. In only the area which actually directly receives the heat, only that parts remain heated. Clear? जो एरिया में हीट लगता है वहां पर हीट रहता है, बाकी दूसरे जगह में हीट नहीं रहता. That is what known as bad conductor. Clear? Iron. So now I'll give example about a dry wood, लकड़ी. That is also a bad conductor. Why that is a bad conductor? Because एक तरफ आग लग रहा है, दूसरी तरफ आप पकड़े हो, आपको गर्मी पता नहीं चलता. Because the heat that is burning from means the portion of the wood that is burning from one side, that does not transport what the heat to the rest of the part. Yes or no? Exactly. In case of rock also, what happened? Rock is the bad conductor of heat. Rock is the bad conductor of heat. As it is the bad conductor of heat, so I am giving an example over here. So what happened? The exterior portion, exterior portion get heated, and you know very well when something get heated that starts expansion. कोई भी चीज यदि continuous heat हुआ तो वो क्या होता है? That start expansion. So what happened? The upper layer, what happened? That starts expanding. When the solar radiation stops falling over it, again it comes to its normal position. And due to this expansion and squeezing, what happened? Slowly what happened? That develops a crack between the top layer of the rock. Expansion and squeezing, expansion और squeeze होने के वजह से फैलना, और ये उसके वजह से what happened? Due to over expansion, automatically what happened? Cracks happens to be appear, and slowly what happened? Like like the peel, like the peels of fruits and all, वो जैसे गिरता है ऐसे ही छोटा छोटा टुकड़ा होके what happened? The exterior part that falls down. So this is the process called exfoliation. This is the process that's called exfoliation. Clear? So here the layer of the rocks that gets peeled off, the layers of rocks get build up here. Understood? Clear? Any questions, students? Any questions? Is there any questions to ask? Yes, Dimple. Yes, the causes of exfoliation is the heat and rock, because rock is the bad conductor of heat, and just because the rock is the bad conductor of heat, no need to only mention that due to heat. Just because rock is the bad conductor of heat, that leads to exfoliation. Only you have to write that. What, Aditya? No sir, not understood or what? Oh, any doubt? My question was any doubt. Okay. Understood? Okay then. Now, the third one is granular disintegration. Third one is granular disintegration. What is granular disintegration? Here exactly the same process takes place like the block disintegration, but this is like, it takes season after season, it takes a long term process. But here what happened, the cracks happens to be appear a big piece. What happened here? Due to increase in temperature and downfall of temperature, the water that is present in this cracks, what happened? Due to increase in temperature and downfall of temperature in the water, okay, present in the cracks during days and nights. During days and nights, okay, during day and night, don't write as. During day and night, what happened? The temperature, daytime what happened? The temperature remain high, and then nighttime what happened? The temperature falls down. Okay, so what happened? Due to this altering of temperature on a regular basis, happens to be developing crack here, and automatically what happens? That separates from the parent rock, and this is what known as granular disintegration. This is what known as granular disintegration. Clear? Understood, students? Yes. Okay. Now we shall study about the chemical weathering. Now we shall study about chemical weathering. Let me explain you what is chemical weathering. This one done, the mechanical weathering one. Now let's discuss about the chemical weathering. So what is the chemical weathering? Okay. See, granular disintegration is given unequal expansion of minerals. Here one more point is given. Second point is given due to the growth of crystals. This is for granular disintegration. See, I forgot to explain about this. Unequal expansion of minerals. What is unequal expansion of minerals? See, minerals is the composition of different elements present in the rock. Minerals are the composition of different elements. So suppose for an example, here I am taking a rock. Here I am taking a rock. And here there is a mixture of different elements. Okay, different elements. You know the elements, 118 elements that are present in the periodic table. So the rock, here we find the presence of different elements. We know different elements have different characteristics. We know different elements have different colors. Clear? So suppose here about the unequal expansion of minerals, the example is based on color. Okay, the example is based on color. So what happened if any element present inside the rock, if that is dark in color, clear? So if that is dark in color, it means you know very well in the summer season when you put any dark clothes like black clothes and all, so you feel extreme heat. आपको बहुत गर्मी महसूस होता है. Why do that happen? Because the clothes, the dark cloth or the black cloth that you have put on, what happened that traps the heat. What happened? That traps the heat, and that somehow that makes you feel very suffocating, congestion and so on. Clear? So what happened? So the element that is present inside the rock, if that is dark in color, so what happened? Okay, L D L L. This time writing L for the light colored elements, D for the dark colored elements. So what happened? These dark colored element, what happened? They traps the heat. What they do? They traps the heat. Heat को वो लोग trap कर लेते हैं. And when they traps the heat, automatically you know any substances that traps the heat, they start expansion. That starts expansion. So what happened? The dark colored elements that start expanding. And when they starts expanding, automatically what happened? Cracks happens to be developed in this rock. What happened? Automatically the cracks develop in this rock, and the dark element that fall down. Okay, dark element that fall down. So ultimately this rock was the composition of dark and light element. So if dark element won't be the part of this rock anymore, so automatically what will happen? It will also break down, because every element they were supporting each other and had made a structure of rock. Now what happened due to the heat? If the dark elements have been eliminated out, dark elements सब बाहर गिरते जा रहा है, so automatically a moment will come when actually it will collapse. Yes, so that kind of disintegration is known as unequal expansion of minerals. Unequal expansion of minerals. Next comes due to the growth of crystals. Due to the growth of crystals. Here I am talking about salt. Due to the growth of crystals. Understood this one? Unequal expansion of minerals one. Student understood unequal expansion of minerals? Why I'm not getting any response from you? Okay. So now I was telling, so understood. So now let me explain you about due to the growth of crystals. Growth of crystals means the salt basically. So what happened? We know very well. Water H2O is a compound, and it is not only the composition of hydrogen and oxygen. Rather, there we find the presence of different minerals. There we find the presence of different minerals. If you buy distilled water, so if you buy mineral water, so you know what is the difference between distilled water and mineral water? Distilled water, they vaporizes it and the vapor been collected in one place. Okay, distillation process, and then what is known as distilled water. And if you buy distilled water, sometime what happen? Additional minerals or added minerals are given there. Added minerals, it means no doubt that has been distilled, but extra minerals are being what mixed with that. Clear? So anyway, here my point of explanation is about due to the growth of crystals. What is the due to the growth of crystals? It means sometime what happened? Salt is also present in water. Salt is also present in the water. So again here cracks. So with the water, with water H2O with salt. In H2O it means in water, if there is the presence of salt here, so automatically you know very well salt is such a crystal which actually what happened? Absorbs the heat, absorbs the water present in any of the components. Water vaporize हो गया, salt बच गया, तो वो react करना start करता है. How? Let me give an example. How many of you have ever gone to Kanyakumari? कितने जन कन्याकुमारी गए हो? या फिर you may have gone to Visakhapatnam. Okay, if you have ever gone to Kanyakumari or Visakhapatnam, so there you may have seen, I'm not talking about beach, I'm not talking about the seashore, I'm talking about such a portion where usually what happen, big piece of rocks are there where the waves that strikes often. Okay, I'm talking about such a portion. So there you will find the structure of the rocks are uneven. Even the surface मतलब जो rock का जो surface भी होता है, there you will find different craters, गड्ढा hole type हुआ रहता है, and that is like the surface is very rough, मतलब हाथ ऐसे फेर दोगे तो हाथ कट जाएगा. So why? Because of the salt that is present in the water. What happened? That it breaks down the rock. Clear? There you won't find the morum one. Morum either way says na makharla pathar. Oh, makharla pathar nahi, they are like the other big giant rock. But the structure, the shape, I'm talking about the surface. The surface is like this, very rough. Why that rough? That rough happened due to the salt that reacted with the minerals or substance that is present in the rock. Clear? So that is what known as due to the growth of crystals. That is what known as due to the growth of crystals. Understood? Understood, everyone? Okay. Now let me explain you about the chemical weathering. After that we are done. Chemical weathering and the biological weathering. See, in chemical weathering, it is their oxidation, carbonation, hydration and solution. Next comes carbonation. Third comes hydration. fourth का हो solution. What is oxidation? The minerals present in the rock reacts with O2, oxygen, and denudation, and weathering takes place. Minerals present in the rock, we know very well rock is a composition of different elements, minerals and so on. So what happens, there are certain minerals which actually reacts with oxygen. What you know very well, have you ever heard about rusting? Rusting of क्या? Iron. Clear? So iron Fe, ferrous. So when iron, if that is present in any of rock, and what happened if that reacts with the oxygen that is present in the atmosphere, so that slowly starts rusting. And I guarantee many of you may have seen the process rusting. बहुत जन rusting देखे होंगे. You know what is rusting? Rusting means slowly what happened, the iron that starts turning brown. Then after when it starts turning brown, slowly what happens, the powdery forms that starts falling and that weakens the iron. Clear? And that is what known as rusting. And once that may even fall down or break down easily, that is what known as rusting. So if there is any iron composition present in the rock, so what happens, that reacts with the oxygen that is present in the atmosphere, and that leads to rusting. As a result, if rusting takes place, automatically what happens, undoubtedly the weathering occurs there. So that is what known as oxidation. Clear? Understood? Yes? Okay. Next comes carbonation. It is the same elements present in the minerals react with, in place of oxygen, react with carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, and what happened, that reacts with the carbon dioxide present in the rock and that starts weathering. That is what known as carbonation. How this reaction takes place? Basically, limestone. In case of limestone, what happened? Carbon dioxide with water reacts with limestones and weaken it, उसे और वीक कर देता है, जिसके वजह से लाइमस्टोन आराम से टूट जाता है. किसके वजह से? कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. वाटर तो अनडाउटफुल इज देयर, सो लाइमस्टोन यूजुअली कमिंग इन टच विद कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड react with the carbon dioxide and water, and that get weakens and slowly that breaks down. That is what known as carbonation. Next comes hydration. Certain minerals which observe certain minerals which observe water and expands. Like इन एक्सफोलिएशन वी रेड, एक्सफोलिएशन में हम लोग पढ़े थे, क्लियर। पीलिंग अप में हम लोग पढ़े थे, जो डार्क एलिमेंट हुआ करता था उसके ऑन दैट ग्राउंड वी हैव रेड दे अब्सॉर्ब्स द हीट, एज अ रिजल्ट दे एक्सपैंड्स, एंड व्हेन दे एक्सपैंड्स ऑटोमेटिकली व्हाट हैपन, दे गेट आउट ऑफ द रॉक. Exactly, there are some certain minerals, what they do when they come in touch with the water, hydration, it means when they come in touch with water, H2O, what happens, that expands, and when that expands means automatically it develops crack there, clear, and that leads to weathering. Next comes solution. Solution, you know what is solution? Solution, it means the mix, excuse me, what is solution? Solution, it means nimbu pani, that is the solution. चाशनी is a solution, sugar syrup जिसे बोलते हैं. What is this? Okay, these are the solution. What happened when you're mixing the sugar with the water? What happened? The sugar that get dissolves with the water. Clear? Exactly. In solution, in खराब हो गया. In case of solution, what happened? Elements of minerals present what I wrote here, elements or minerals present in the rock get mixed and dissolved with the water and lose the rigidity, उनका जैसे जो कठोरता, जो strong rigidness था वो lose कर देते हैं. When they mixed with the water and they get dissolved, वो लोग पूरे dissolve हो जाते हैं. So that is what known as solution. So in this process what happens, the chemical weathering takes place. Oxidation, when the mineral that reacts with the oxygen and breaks down. I gave you example about rusting, that is known as oxidation. What is carbonation? Carbonation, it means when the minerals that is present inside the rock that react with carbon dioxide, like example the limestone that react with carbon dioxide as well as water, and what happens, that weakens and that can break down. That is what carbonation. Hydration, what is hydration? It means the element that is present inside the rock, when they come in touch with the water, they absorb it and that get expands, and when that expands, what happens, weathering takes place. Next comes solution, the elements of the minerals that is present inside the rock, what happened, they get dissolved with the water, and when they get dissolved with the water, it means they lose the rigidity. वो लोग तो उनका जो कठोरता था एक दूसरे को compactly hold करके रख रहे थे, वो पूरा dissolve होने के बाद automatically that will break down. So these are the four processes of chemical weathering. These are the four processes of chemical weathering. Now we shall be discussing about biological weathering. Done students? Last one about biological weathering. Biological weathering includes men, trees, animals. You know very well, men are involved with lots of process. Construction, blasting, mining. Okay. So by doing all these things, what happened? Automatically, what happened? Men participate with the what? Weathering of rocks, construction. ये सब काम के लिए, yes. रोड बनाना है, कंक्रीट चाहिए, पत्थर गोड़ी चाहिए कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क के लिए. ब्लास्टिंग, ब्लास्ट किया जाता है. मूवीज 80s के मूवीज में, 90s के मूवीज में देखे होंगे. ब्लास्टिंग किया जाता है, वो हीरो पीछे से दौड़ते हुए आता है या बूम बूम. So what happened? It is blasting mine area में. Mining, you know, कलेक्ट करना, ये करना. Okay, open mining, underground mining होता है. वहाँ पर तोड़ के ही निकाला जाता है minerals and all. So that is what the man is involved with that. Trees one you know very well. You may have seen in different rocks, different breeze and all. Trees they get their root inside the rock and all. बड़े-बड़े concretes के ऊपर. And what happens? Slowly the root that creates the cracks inside the rock and all, and automatically that participate in the weathering one. Next comes animals like rabbit, mouse, monkey. It is, yes, digging up ground for the burrows. Mouse also do the same. So as monkeys also do. पत्थर उठा के फेंकते हैं, पता है कि नहीं? Even basically even the forest one, if they have to crack the nuts को यदि तोड़ना है वो लोग उनको, they use the stones only, they use the rocks only. What is that? That is how the animals they participate in this weathering process. So with this, students, I am done with this chapter called weathering. Next class we shall be doing the agent of denudation. The agent of denudation. Hope you all understood and liked today's class, and I feel as like my teaching stood worthful. If you like, then please do like and subscribe my channel, and may God bless you. And if you're having any doubt, then you can personally text me message in my WhatsApp number. With this, I'm winding up today's class. May God bless you all. In KGF 1, Aditya. And if you haven't subscribed my channel, then do subscribe it. Okay, bye everyone. Bye. Welcome everyone. Soeb, Aditya, Aisha, Bijuli, Rashmi, Buddhi, Jayanti. Welcome everyone. Thank you, acknowledgement. Thank you, Soeb. Welcome.